Oh man, welcome in everybody back to a new episode. Is our music playing? It is. I couldn't tell if my intro music was playing. Back to a new episode of Nintendo Rewind Podcast. My name's Cody Christian and I'm joined by my co-host right over here, the man with the green eyes, no longer in Waluigi garb, Chris Becker. How's it going, Super Nintendo Daddy?
It is going wonderful. Well, I don't know if wonderful's the word, but it's going.
Wonderful is a word. Is that how you would describe it?
Probably not. You know, it's like, when you're at the end of your Oregon Trail game and your wagon's just barely hanging on. Mm-hmm. That's, that might be how I would describe it this week.
I understand. But listen, you can recover from dysentery. I played Oregon Trail fairly recently. I made it, and I almost had the highest score, and I ran those people like absolute livestock across America. I was like, we're going to make it. And it was a good time. I had a good time with it.
It's always a good time.
Just run yourself all the way across America as hard as you possibly can, like livestock. So, it'll be good. But, oh man, dude, have you gotten into playing any video games recently this past week? Maybe eating some good snacks, doing anything fun or for yourself?
Good questions. No. No.
No, good question. Not at all.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I did. I started like getting back into some games that I hadn't played in a while. I downloaded Outer Wilds because it got that new update a few months ago, performance. So I downloaded that, and then I started a new farm on Stardew Valley because 1.6 finally came to consoles. So it's like the new big update, a bunch of new additions, including a new farm where you start with 2 chickens. And yeah, I've also just started playing through, not just, but Breath of the Wild again.
You've been doing that live over on Twitch. I want to let you know that live chat is absolutely roasting you right now, saying what's video games. We all know he doesn't play anything. I think the correct statement on that is likely he doesn't finish anything, but maybe I could be wrong on all of that. Like, it's just you don't finish anything. You don't read anything. How can we even possibly be sure you're playing a video game, to be completely honest? I think
true. I might just be watching a trailer. I don't know.
You might be playing the video game, mashing the buttons, and I don't understand why I went that way. And then just watching the cutscenes later on YouTube, like it just might be what you're doing. It just might be what you were doing. Toasty asks, Outer Wilds, isn't that the game that teaches you to play by punishing you? I can't speak for it. Is it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, it teaches you by showing you what not to do. I mean, if you want to call that punishing, then so be it. I mean, it's no different than every single NES game.
No different than every single NES game. Why are you so quiet tonight? Are you like super far away from your microphone? Is it just like you're so much quiet? Okay, yeah, no, there we go. That was much better. Yeah, oh, that's so much better.
Okay.
I was sitting there thinking, I was like, is he like, do I need to adjust his audio? Anyway, chat wasn't complaining, so maybe they're like, okay, I like quieter Chris. He can't tell me that my feelings on games are invalid.
I still will from a distance.
It's true, just yelling it like, you sucking gaps! Oh my gosh. But no, like, I'm kind of with you. Like this last week, I played quite a bit of games, but nothing that was like super, super crazy hardcore in depth. I did some Nightmare on Elm Street with the retroactive community and had a really good time as the NES game. I've never played that. And it's one of those games that I'm like, man, I got super into that being a platformer. I just didn't expect to actually like it because I'm not a big horror, scary kind of guy. Like I can't handle it normally. But that game, first off, it's so old, it's not scary anymore. Like when you go back and watch those old slasher horror films, it's not scary anymore. So like that was good. But I had a really good time with that. Took a couple of days off from streaming over the weekend to hang out with my sister, and we got our cat back. I don't know if I mentioned on the show, and I feel like I did, but my cat was in the hospital. Not the actual human hospital, clearly, but the like animal hospital, trying to live, and trying to not do a die, and he ended up surviving, not doing a die, and he's back home with us. So like, I couldn't be more thrilled and more stoked. Mrs. Nerdwire, the whole family, the kiddos, just so stoked to have our cat back. But that's mostly what I did. And then Fortnite Season 2 popped out, and it was time to play that. And Marvel Snap just started a new season today, and you and I and a couple of other people from the community were playing it, from the retroactive community were playing it today, getting some bounties. If you'd like to join, just search for our alliance, NRD. It's a good time. So but no, like, that's pretty much the extent of it. And I mean, I was sitting on pins and needles waiting for like something from Nintendo, for them to do something, and then next thing I know, we got Pokemon TCG Pocket coming out this past weekend. And yeah, I don't want to spoil the episode. I'm not going to spoil the episode, but I spent a lot of time playing Pokemon TCG Pocket over the weekend. So we'll talk about that a little more in depth in today's episode, which is actually Pokemon TCG Pocket and Nintendo Music themed. So hang around. Make sure you don't miss any of that. Emperor Gone Best of the live chat played the new card game from Inti Creates we mentioned last week. Emperor Gone Best likes it. They also like that they made up around 10 different parody franchises just for the game. I'm glad that some of our recommendations are coming through and actually like being good hits and not just like cannon fodder for terrible games media. You know, like, we're doing our jobs right, Chris. How do you feel about that?
It's always exciting. Plus, I really like Indie Creates, so anytime I see a game on there, even if I've never played it, it's at least like, if you like the genre of the game that they're making, it's you know the old saying, swimming in sevens. Swimming in sevens. Yeah.
I don't know the old saying. I what is that? What is swimming in sevens?
You know, like, you're constantly swimming in sevens because there's just so many games out. There's not enough game. Like, if you play enough games, you're just swimming in sevens.
Oh, this is Game Trailers reference. Holy cow. Okay, swimming in sevens. I finally understand. That's
Michael
old.
Huber.
Throwback, yes. Swimming in sevens, a phrase that refers to the appreciation of average games. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. That's too good. That's too good. Gotta love those sevens. You gotta love them. Also, you know who else we need to love?
What do we need to love? Well, hold on. What is it?
We need to love our special, absolutely amazing supporters over on NintendoRewind.com. You know, before we dive into everything that we're doing, we want to make sure that we thank our generous supporters over there. If you would like to directly support our content, guide what we're discussing, and get exclusive videos that won't be uploaded to our YouTube channel, you can sign up to become a member. Plus, you get some merch discounts and be able to buy some shirts and represent the old channel. If you like us that much, put us on your body, become a living billboard. But you don't have to do that. We've got cool stuff over there too. That's not just advertisement. And every dollar spent on our merch or to support us helps continue to produce the show. There's even a tier that only costs $1 a month, and with it, you get a shout out on the show. That said, I want to thank our members, Calamity Nolan, Sierra Christian, and Shiny Bird, for all their gracious support. Now we're going to get back to the show. Chris, we got two things to talk about today. The very first thing on the docket, Nintendo Music, my dude. And if you're hearing the music in the background, this was all sourced legally from a certain place to be able to play this music on the show. That wasn't on Nintendo Music. Please, God, don't sue us, Nintendo Ninjas. That's the last thing that we need right now. We don't want to. Chris, you wouldn't make it in jail. You're too pretty. Look at that me. Look into those deep green eyes.
I know, right?
But I wanted to talk a little bit about Nintendo Music and how we feel about it, what we're thinking about it, and our time with it. Have you had the chance to get your hands on to Nintendo Music? Have you experienced it yet, my good sir?
I certainly did. I listened to some music. it's all just music from. I mean, I listen to more menu music than anything else. The We Vote channel, or Everybody Votes
The
channel.
Everybody Votes channel.
Yeah.
Jamming that Nintendog's bathing theme, says Mel in the live chat. My kids have asked me to play the walking theme from Nintendog's like 15 times. Like, so dumb.
Yeah, definitely. I listened to that. I don't know why. I mean, let's be honest. Like growing up, I mean, when I would listen to music, I would just listen to either whatever because my brother and I shared a room growing up, so I'd listen to whatever he would listen to, or he would just downright hate when because we had to start taking turns once I started being like, oh, I want to listen to certain music, but being neurodivergent, I love listening to the same one song on repeat over and over again.
Oh no. This is like my children all over again. I gotta tell you, like that's pretty much what it is like I've had to put freaking Nintendog's walking music on repeat over here. It's been so bad.
That's why I didn't like Spotify or anything. Like if I want to listen to a song, I'll just buy that one song and then just listen to it on repeat. They're usually sad sounding songs, so my brother would be like, just anything. He would start giving me money so that we would just listen to different songs.
He's like paying the jukebox.
Yeah, when it was his turn, he would just have the top 20 at night or whatever on the radio. And when it was my turn, it was like, I Knew I Loved You Before I Even Met You, just on repeat.
I knew I loved you. God, why?
Who was that? That was terrible. It was awful. Yeah.
Listen, so I gotta be honest though. Was anybody clamoring for this? Was anybody going, you know what, I could really use a Nintendo Music app that requires me to have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription to use it?
Yeah. I mean, just one more thing that the Nintendo Switch Online subscription, I mean, they might as well just have it be called the Nintendo Online subscription. Just Nintendo subscription online and not Nintendo Switch Online, because half of the stuff that you do is offline. It's just or off the Switch.
Nowadays, half the new experiences they've put out, like you can play some NSO games, and that's totally fine. But in order to buy an Alarmo, you had to have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription and alarm clock. In order to download this app and use it, you have to be a Nintendo Switch Online subscriber. I don't know. I'm not asking for this in any way. And I'll tell you why. Okay. So here's the thing. First, before we dive into that, we should probably talk about what Nintendo said about why they launched it. Do you want to tell the people why they launched it?
Do I want to tell them?
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to. I can tell them, but
I'll tell them, but just give me a second.
Gosh, pull the script up. Where's the script?
I had to pull it up. I have it. I was looking looking for the music video for I Knew I Loved You Before I Even Met You. I was gonna listen to that later. All right. Okay. All right. Here, Nintendo talks about when they launched it. We believe that game music is an important and valuable piece of content in order to expand the number of people who have access to Nintendo IP. And, well, I mean, as long as they're not a YouTube channel. And
so bad.
And Nintendo Music is a service that allows us to deliver this game music in a way that is unique to Nintendo. Yep, it sure is. It's a hunk of junk. All right. You can enjoy the unique features of Nintendo Music, such as being able to enjoy music along with screenshots, just random screenshot from the game or the app, and being provided with playlists based not only on game titles, but also on various game-related themes and perspectives, such as characters and music during battles. We believe, and washing your dog, um, we believe that if Nintendo Music reminds you of your favorite gaming experiences, it will also inspire you even to want to play the games again. Composers be damned, we're not going to tell you the composers, but we will tell you what games there are from. And we'll give you spoiler warnings in case the music is from the final boss.
From the final boss. So, and so what are the okay, so I've only messed around with a couple of the features on there, but what are the main features of this? I know they've got spoiler warning as an option and extend track as an option.
Yeah, we're just kind of if you want to it's kind of like a playlist, but it just the how those YouTube channels will have 9 hours of game video or music. It's kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's except a worse experience in my opinion, because it's at least they put pictures and video that looked like from the actual game instead of a random screenshot. Nintendog's walking music is I'm sorry I keep harping on that, because that's the song that the kids have really wanted to listen to a lot. The Nintendog's walking music is literally a picture of a golden retriever dog bathing. That's not walking, that's bathing.
Yeah,
I don't here's the thing.
Probably the same image that they use for
every song
the bathing song,
that you get one screenshot per the entire thing.
Yeah.
So
this intern went and got the screenshot, but they only had enough hours in the week to get one screenshot for launch.
Yep. Now I will say that I do like the extend track feature, because video game music, it tends to loop anyway. It's made to loop in case you don't leave an area quickly enough or you don't leave it soon enough. So the fact that you can pull up the Wii Shop music and play it on a 10-hour loop. Well, I don't think it goes up to 10 hours. I think it goes up to 4 hours. If I'm thinking correctly.
I think so, yeah.
It might be less than that, might be a little more than that. I haven't played around with that feature enough to be able to say educatedly that it's massively long, but the fact that I can play the Wii Shop music on a 4-hour loop is pretty great. I'm down for that. But the screenshot feature is kind of lame. I will say the one thing that I do like is they've got some really cool sorting features that they've done on the app, where you can sort by vibe. So for instance, if you want to have final bosses, or you're looking for something energetic and upbeat, or you're looking for by character, by game, it's got some really good ways to sort the music that way. And I do like that a lot. Another thing that I really like, the Splatoon albums, those are broken down by artist, fake artist in the Splatoon lore, because they're not going to tell you who actually performed it.
Right.
But
why would they?
Yeah, right. But it's got it broken down by artist on there. So you've got the Squid Sisters, you've got Off the Hook, you've got whoever that third one was from Splatoon 3, because I've suddenly blanked. But you've got Seasides that are in there as well. There's a bunch of different artists that I didn't realize, because a lot of times the vocalists sound very similar and the music is pretty similar in vibe. But I didn't realize how many artists they had in Splatoon. So that was a cool little wake up call for me whenever I opened up the app and I saw that. But for the most part, the only thing that I'm sitting here asking myself, I said as much in the review that the review that I wrote for this in the script, is, why didn't they just upload this to the library on YouTube or Spotify? There's no reason they couldn't have done it. Sega Sound Team has done that for a bunch of Sega games, and that's protecting their IP. I don't think there was any real reason for them to develop a new app that requires, first off, a Nintendo Switch Online subscription to join. But also second off, that kind of takes you into another area on your phone that is not compatible with 90% of your external devices. Like, it's not compatible with Apple CarPlay. It's not compatible with Android Auto. I'm not able to just plug my phone into my car like I do with YouTube Music, Spotify, podcasts, whatever it is, and listen to this music that I would really like to listen to in a legal manner and support the company that I want to support. And that's kind of where I land with this, is like, it feels like it's just so unneeded, right?
Yeah. And it's one of those things where, I mean, just like pretty much everything else on NSO is, I like check it out when it first comes out. Oh, that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It gets the nostalgia, and then usually barely go back to it except for when something new comes to it.
Yeah.
Like Donkey Kong Country 2 came to it.
That was today, right? That was today.
Yeah, didn't listen to it yet. Although alongside the Donkey Kong Country 2 music, they also added Donkey Kong Country 2 NSO icons.
They did, and I did not add that to the Nintendo news ticker. Those came out today. Kirby went out, Kirby Superstar Saga went out, and Donkey Kong Country 2 icons came in for the month. They're available till December 2nd.
More Diddy and Dixie.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. But not like, that's kind of where I land with this. It's just extra, and that's fine. Like, I'm okay with getting more. But I don't know if it was necessary. I will say Kit and Krista was, they did a quick video over on their YouTube channel. If you're not following them, they were the former hosts of Nintendo Minute, working for Nintendo, doing a whole bunch of stuff for them from a marketing side of things. And then they're no longer with them. They have their own podcast called the Kit and Krista Show. But they were talking about this and how much they've enjoyed this. And they had a lot of positive to say, but one of the things that they said about this that I think is significantly important to note here is how quickly are they going to be drip feeding this music out? Because at the end of the day, Nintendo has it all. And this was their argument. Nintendo has it all. There's no reason it all couldn't have been present day one, right?
Right, yeah.
But the biggest thing here is that they constantly do this like drip feed of, we're trying to warm you up for the next thing. So, let's say Metroid's getting ready to come out, right? So Metroid's getting ready to come out. Well, okay, all of a sudden the Metroid Prime soundtrack is available on the app. I don't know that it's on there right now or not. I think it's not likely. But Metroid Prime 4 is getting ready to come out. Likely we'll start seeing some of that stuff in the warm-up phase leading up to the launch of that game, is basically what Kit and Krista said. The other side of that, though, is that the thing that Kit and Krista said, and I 100% agree with them, that will change this and make this something that I think is significantly better, is making sure that they have new game soundtracks out day and date. So Mario and Luigi Brothers Ship is out later this week. We'll talk about that in Nintendo Fast Forward. But are they going to have Mario and Luigi Brothers Ship's soundtrack available the same day the game comes out? So that way I can play the game, and then I get done playing some of the game, and I want to go out for a drive and grab myself some dinner after playing the game and listen to the music on my phone for that game to continue keeping myself in that ecosystem and that mindset. Do you think they'll have that happen? Because I'm not the most confident that that's actually going to be a thing, but that would be the smartest thing for them to do.
Yeah. I don't think they will, because they showed some of the game soundtracks that were coming, and that was not listed. Not even the other Mario and Luigi games.
No.
It's just nothing. Nada.
I will say that app's going to live and die on the support that Nintendo gives it at the end of the day. And Nintendo doesn't they don't support their mobile services all that much unless they are home runs. And we're talking like Fire Emblem Heroes home runs, you know? Like, you don't get any other support unless you're Fire Emblem Heroes pretty much on a mobile phone. So, but, you know, overall, if I were to give this a rating, my experience on it, a rating of 1 through 10, personally where I kind of land on this, because I think it's a good addition. It's extra. It's nice to have, but there are some very glaring issues, like not connecting to Apple CarPlay, like not having the entire library of music on here, and not having dynamic screenshots for each game, you know.
Random generic ones,
yeah. You know, honestly, on a scale of 1 to 10, I think I would probably give this like maybe a 6, maybe a 6. And that's not saying it's a bad experience. It's just not what I necessarily wanted or needed, and it's confusing on why they push so much for this, other than to protect their IPs a little bit more for all this Nintendo music people have been using.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, at least it is Nintendo Switch Online and not like required you to have the expansion pack.
Yeah.
But even still, I mean, they are so slow with releasing Nintendo games on those services. Like, just, it's just not even. I mean, we'll probably talk about it on another episode about NSO as a whole.
I guarantee it.
Yeah, it's just another thing that's there that I don't care about when I could be listening to Donna Lewis. You know?
Listen to that Donna Lewis. What would you give the experience on a scale of 10 for yourself, Chris?
Like a 4, probably.
Ooh, even worse than me. I was more positive on it because it's nice to have it.
I don't care. I'm paying for it. You know, it's part of that NSO. So they release it with like 25 games. Like there's hundreds of Nintendo games that they could have music for, and they don't. It's just kind of like half baked. They got that spoiler warning in there, like it does anything. I saw more people talking about that spoiler warning issue than actually talking about whether or not they actually enjoyed the music on there.
Yeah. There have been more articles on Nintendo Life and on Nintendo Everything and everywhere else that like are daily news outlets, not just our weekly news outlet, that have been, here's how you enable spoiler warning, not here's the best of the best on the, you know what, that's a topic. We should take some time, listen to the Nintendo Music app, and then select our top 10 tracks from Nintendo Music app and recommend them to people. That's what we'll do. That'll be an episode. Chris is like, I don't want to do that.
Listen to music.
Man. Yeah, right? Listen to music and decide whether I like it or not. Who does that? But it is one of 2 apps that came out this past week from Nintendo and company. We're going to put this in like slight asterisk here. It's Nintendo asterisk because it is the biggest, most mega selling ever, period, billion-dollar franchise in the entire entertainment industry. And that was Pokemon. And Pokemon Company and DNA released an app called, what was it called, Chris?
Pokemon TCG Pocket, probably.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. If you're not familiar with Pokemon TCG Pocket, what Pokemon TCG Pocket is it is a app that is pretty much Pokemon, the trading card game, but in a more bite-sized, faster, more streamlined experience. This launched on the 30th last week. We were, was I live doing something? I can't even remember. Were we on this show? No, we were on the show last week. Were we not?
I think so. And it said Wednesday, but
I think it was Wednesday Japan.
But it was like, it came out like while 9 o'clock while we were doing the show.
While we were doing this show. But so the game came out, and I mean, it has been an absolute amazing stellar hit in terms of like making money for the Pokemon company. One thing they mentioned is that the game itself has made somewhere in the ballpark of $20 million since it launched. That's $3 million a day at minimum. $3 million a day at minimum. I mean, this game is printing money, and I can't say that I'm not a part of the ecosystem. You and I have both spent quite a bit of time with it. I think we both have some pretty hefty opinions on it. But one of the things that I will tell people, because I compared it last week to Marvel Snap, it's different. It is different than Marvel Snap. It's on a quicker timeline than Marvel Snap is. I will say that much. It is on a quicker time. My apologies, not than Marvel Snap is, than traditional Pokemon TCG is what I meant to say. But it's still not as fast and quick play of rounds as Marvel Snap is. And so it's a little bit on the different side. But Chris, how do you feel about it? What are your thoughts on it? Have you enjoyed it? Like, what would you like to see? What do you already like that you're seeing? Give your thoughts on it, dude.
Okay, well, the first thing I noticed was they were giving me a lot of cards up front. They want you to have a bunch of cards. They want you to get hooked on opening those packs and seeing the plastic rip off. And then not only that, but then getting new cards and popping in new shiny cards. They were going for all the they were just going for all the scepters in my brain, trying to get me hooked on this game. And it almost worked until it didn't. But I liked getting all the cards and doing all that, and then having those extra like hourglass, like you would get. So basically, you're opening packs, and then you got the hourglasses, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you can use. They give you a bunch up front, and there's a bunch of quests that you can do, and you complete those quests, and you get more hourglasses, and then you can get more packs, and you just keep opening packs. And then not only that, but they give you 2 weeks free of the premium, which for free and then when that runs out, then you get it. But then that allows you to open another pack every 24 hours, right?
Yep.
And it will save up to 2. So if you missed 2 days, like on the second day, you can come back and you'll be able to get those packs as well. But yeah, I really like that. And then building the decks, but then not only playing against the AI, but then adding my friends on there and then seeing their collections, and then every day as I log in, seeing their collections grow, and then mine's growing too at the same time, and I'm enjoying that as well. How about you? What did you think of it when you first started it up?
Well, so I've put some serious time into this game, but I will say the early game is where they do kind of get their hooks into you, like you said. Like, it is everything that you could possibly want out of like early game gacha mechanics, where like everything is new. Almost every single pack you open is, ooh, a new card, ooh, a new Pokemon, ooh, a new trainer, ooh, a new supporter card, ooh, a new item. And it is so manufactured in a way to hit those, as Toasty in the live chat saying, all the collector dopamine receptors. Like, it is so designed in a way that it hooks you into going, oh, I'm so close to getting this thing that I need to complete a deck. Maybe I should spend some money, and like, it feels so good at the beginning, and then the lack of cards and the amount that you have opened, the lack of card variety and the amount you've opened, you realize that you're starting to get a whole bunch of duplicates. So no matter how much money you pop into this thing, it's almost like, okay, well, we got your $5, $10, $15, $50, $100. and now it's ours, and you didn't get anything new for it. But that's gotcha mechanics in a nutshell, right? I don't have a whole bunch of huge problems with it, but in terms of the gameplay, but there are a lot of other things that I would say that I have some issues with. I've really enjoyed it, but there's a lot there just isn't a lot that keeps me coming back and logging in throughout the day. And that's my biggest problem with these kinds of games, is that when you're doing free to play, if you don't have a lot of modes and you don't have a lot of card variety and you don't have a lot of rewards for playing the game, why would I come back? Right? So
yeah,
like there's not enough reward system to keep me logging back in, or enough mission structure to keep me logging back in multiple times throughout the day. I am typically logging in once in the morning right now and once in the evening. And I'm doing my wonder pools, or I'm opening my packs, and I might play around because I have a few minutes. Because also those games are significantly extended compared to like something like Marvel Snap, where I can play a game within 4 minutes and be done. These games, you've got up to a 20-minute timer on them, and then it's like, okay, well, we're gonna finish it off. It's really difficult for me to go, okay, I have a reason to come back and play or look at it or do this thing in it, because there's nothing to do in it. It's so sparse. But I don't want to criticize it too much. Here's my list of good. And I wrote these out before the show, and I said, these are my good. So the good is that they are quick battles. Compared to sitting down with like an actual deck of Pokemon trading cards and playing against somebody, this is significantly faster. You only got to beat 3 Pokemon. You finish off the 3 Pokemon, and you're constantly generating mana, so you're not waiting for an energy card to show up in your hand. You can beat those battles pretty quick. I do think it has a good reward system for what is there, but there's just not enough there to reward me properly, right? Yeah. I would say that the artwork in this game is stellar. That there are times when you get a card and it's these immersive art cards. It is so ridiculously cool to get these immersive art cards. One of the first ones I got was Mewtwo EX, and I was like, what the heck? And then I ended up snagging Pikachu EX, and I'm stoked about having that too. But it is absolute insanity. Some of the art is so good, and a lot of the artwork is just like transpositions from the actual game, or from the actual trading card game to the trading card app.
Right, yeah.
So, but that art still looks so good, and it's cool to be able to collect that without having to have a physical piece of cardboard in my house. Then on top of that, I think this has a really, really, really good collection tracker to let you know what you have, whether or not you've gotten a card yet or not, which works against you in the wonder pools or the wonder picks that they have on there, which is a whole other segment of the game we haven't really even talked about. But it tells you whether or not you've got that card by an icon that's on there. And then if you want to look and see what holes you have in your collection, you can go and click a little button, and it shows you every card that you have and every card you don't own. If you click on a number of the card that you don't own, it opens up the details and descriptions of that card and tells you what pack you need to open to be able to get that card. Right. So, like, I really like the collection tracker. But here's where it goes a little sideways, because I also wrote here the bad. There are too many dang currencies in this game. I think there is legitimately like 12 different currencies in this game. There's Poke Gold. There's hourglasses for wonder picks. There's hourglasses for opening booster packs. There's stamina for doing the new Lapras EX event that's in there. There is tickets that you can spend in a shop in there. There are emblems that you can buy with like these like special collectors tokens that you get for beating certain or filling out your Pokedex in the game. I mean, legitimately, I think there are about 12 different currencies that are in this game, and it is so bad. And the monetization on it is so ridiculous. I hate that. I hate that with everything in me. Um, I'd say there's not enough solo missions for me to keep like really investing time into it. Although the Lapras EX event just started, and that was an additional solo mission thing that once you finish like your beginner, your advanced, your expert, and master missions, you can go and do these Lapras EX event missions, and that's cool because you don't have to be locked into playing with another player and waiting on them to make their turns. And they have like rewards for doing those, which is really cool. I would say that the VFX are pretty sluggish. So when you play a card, and I mean, I've played it on my phone, I've played it on my PC emulating Android, like I've played it in a couple different places, and it's a little bit sluggish on its frames. It will drop frames if there's too much going on the screen, which is crazy to me because it's a card game. I would also say it also has sluggish reaction to my inputs. So if I'm trying to move cards on the screen, it's not always reacting super quick to me like doing the touch on it. Like it won't always pull the card that I'm trying to pull up because it waited too long to snap to where I put my thumb on. And then I guess, I super dislike the monetization efforts they've went through. There's not enough variety in card archetypes. Stamina refills on all aspects are excruciatingly slow. Bad input controls because it seems like every action requires something different, whether it be a tap or a swipe, and the game doesn't tell you immediately whether you need to tap or swipe a thing or long press on a thing to be able to do the thing that it wants you to do. But all of that being said, I've really enjoyed my experience with the game. Even despite all of those complaints, I've really enjoyed the game.
Well, I'm happy for you. I'm glad you were able to enjoy it.
Chris is like, I uninstalled it. I'm done.
I didn't uninstall it. I thought it uninstalled me because I couldn't find it. And then I found out, it was because I had more than one quote unquote gaming app. Because I found out, like, I guess my phone started with a bunch of gaming apps already installed. So it just kept taking the game off my home screen and moving it to some game center. So I had to like disband that and get rid of it so that it showed back up on the home screen. So I did that. But then playing it, the one thing there's a few things I don't like. One, I really don't feel like playing the card game at this point because I got to a point where I just wasn't winning the matches against the computer.
Get good.
And if you don't shut up, if you don't,
sorry.
If you don't,
I'm sorry.
I'm done.
No, come on, keep going. No. We need it. Don't. We need to hear the rest of the review. Don't do it. Don't hang up.
I'm uninstalling the game. And so what happens is it's wasting my time. I mean, the whole thing's wasting my time, but it's wasting my time in the sense that if you don't win, or if you're trying to play the same match over again, you don't get anything.
Yeah.
If you don't win, you don't get anything. So then it's just teaching me not to play the game. I'm just not going to play it. I'm just going to open the cards. But then I open the cards and I'm just getting repeats of the same card I already have. But, then they add all those extra currencies where I got to get, like, I have to get so many duplicates to make my card look super shiny that I just I'm like, why do I don't want the extra cards. Now they're trying to make me be like, look, you're going to get a lot of duplicates. This is the way we're going to handle it.
Right.
And I don't like it. And I don't necessarily like playing the game because it takes too long sometimes, because the matches, if you're swapping out Pokemon, they're swapping out Pokemon, and then you got your potions, and then you got these support cards that give you health. You're swapping out one Pokemon for another, and it just takes way too long. Just no. There's been times where I was in the middle of a match and I was just bored, and so I was like, I shouldn't be bored. This match is like how long? Like it's minutes, and then just got to the point where I only open it now when it pops up with a notification that I can open a pack. Then I open a pack. Whether or not it has a bend on the crease, I'm still opening it.
Which, by the way, that's been debunked. Apparently, the RNG on it is defined the moment you open up that screen. So it doesn't matter which pack. Every pack has the same cards. So,
which would make sense because just uninstalled it. Super Nintendo. Toasty, shout out to you. Yeah. So then you're going through getting these cards. Too many duplicates. Especially considering it's like, they're like, we got the 151 plus all these additional cards, and then they're like, they have this new event. I only did the first match of it and got a card.
Yeah, it is the Leprosy X event. I've got it pulled up so that way people can kind of see what's going on in it. Ignore the fact that I'm emulating Android right now. Don't come after me, Nintendo. But I mean, this is kind of the stuff that Chris is talking about here, is like all of these icons that they have on the screen right now, these like blue diamonds, that's a stamina you got to wait for, or you can pay Poké Gold for. These hourglasses is a stamina you have to wait for, or you can pay Poké Gold for. These golden hearts is a stamina that you have to wait for or pay Poké Gold for. So like, I don't blame you for not wanting to do anything, because the rewards are so limited in these like regular battles. I mean, if you look at this, which I've completed them, most all of them, but like battle task, knock out your opponent's active Pokemon one time. What do you get? 3 shop tickets, right? Put 4 basic Pokemon into play. You get 3 more shop tickets. First time playing it, you get 2 hourglasses, 50 shine dust, and 1 shop ticket. What can you do with that? Not anything, because it requires, at minimum, if you have no stamina to open a pack, 12 hourglasses. Okay? If you go to the shop to be able to buy stuff with those tickets, the shop tickets that you get, the cheapest things you can get, let me go, hang on one second. Yeah, here we go. We're in the right place. The cheapest things you can get are promo cards. You only need 2 of each of those. Those cost you 2 tickets. The thing that you want to get is the hourglasses. And if you've already bought all of the other hourglasses back here, which were like reduced price for the launch of the game, it is 18 shop tickets to be able to get those. Well, in what world? Toasty, you were 100% right. This is a masterclass in abusive and aggressive microtransactions in every way. That's not counting the whatever these tokens are called. What are these? Emblem tickets. The special currency, that the only way to get those is by consuming high rarity cards or buying it with 300 shop tickets. The limited time events that require these like special tickets that you can only get for doing events, or having the premium pass, which luckily I'm still on the 2-week free trial. I will likely be canceling it. And then on top of that, the Poké Gold. Oh, okay. No, never mind. We can't look at Poké Gold because I'm not logged into my Google account on here, which is fine. It's expensive. It's expensive. And it's so confusing. And that's not even counting like suddenly you get pack dust. What pack points, not pack dust, that you can then exchange for more Pokemon. And shiny dust that you can exchange to get flares for your Pokemon. Like, in what world is any of this okay with everybody, and why are we just okay with the level of microtransactions that are happening here in this game? Is it just because, ooh, cute monster?
I don't know. I'm not. I'm level 12, I think, right now. I got to level 10 like in the first 24 hours, and then after that, my playtime with it dropped off just because of how just everything we've been talking about.
Yep.
Just.
Yep. I've still, even through the complaints, I've still enjoyed the game. But there's a lot to complain about.
Playing my friends that went above and beyond and have a bunch of other cards that I don't have unlocked, and then just being able to beat me every time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Have no interest in playing it outside of opening the cards, and then even that, then who knows how long I'll do that.
I'll still play it. I'm enjoying the game. I'll still play it, but
so yeah, I'm a level 12. You're what, 20?
19, 20, something like that.
I think the highest I have is a friend who I won't out them on here, but they are a level 33.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe Susie's been doing that much.
Susie is not a 33.
Oh man. Yeah. All that being said, if you go over to the Discord, you can go be our friends. We've shared a lot of our well, never mind. Let me do this. This is the right one. Go over to our Discord. You can go share your friend code. We'll be your friends. I think this is pretty funny though. Emperor Gombessa in the live chat here. Stamina, shop tickets, Pokegold, pack points, shine dust. And then Toasty kind of sums it up almost perfectly here. Standard, this is the standard. Huge boost to get you going, then a big paywall to get you out of the initial high.
Yeah. It's
frustrating. Now, you pay me, Nintendo, when you want another Hitman. Oh, man, it's just frustrating. I really wish the game wasn't so focused on the monetization side of it, and that they would give me more to do in the game besides trying to collect the cards. And that's my biggest complaint. If I wanted to pay $5 for a pack of cards, I'd just go out and buy a pack of cards like real ones.
Yeah. I'm not going to do that either.
No, not anymore. So, I don't know. Overall, like I said, I've rather enjoyed the game, like what I've played of it. There are a lot of glaring issues that I want to see get fixed, that I would like to see get addressed in some way. But overall, like, even still, I've enjoyed the game enough that I would still tell people try it. Legitimately, it is free to play, right? Like, you can play it completely free and not feel bad the entire time. But I think that they do a lot to keep you riding high on that collection dopamine, as Toasty said in the live chat, on that collection dopamine, and really encourages you to spend money in an aggressive way. And if you can resist that urge, I think you'll come out a much better person than me. Yeah. Oh man, what do you give it, Chris, on a scale of 1 to 10 on that? I'll tell you mine, so you don't feel so bad by giving it the 2 that you're about to give it or whatever. I would give this experience probably a 7.5. Legitimately way better than Nintendo Music, but there are some glaring issues. And I will still play a 7.5 game. We're swimming in 7s here, baby.
We're swimming in something. I think if I were to give it a score, yeah, probably like a 6 or a 7. I enjoyed my time with it. I enjoy getting the cards, looking at them. It's also weird how, like some things have you swiping the cards, and then other things you need to tap it. So you're trying to swipe it, and it's not going to work because you need to tap it. But then at the same time, you're like the timer's ticking down, and
timers are scary.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'll go with a 6. Now that we're talking about it more, yeah.
That's not too bad. That's better than I thought it was going to be. We have one more piece of main topic stuff. I didn't know if we were actually going to be talking about this tonight, because I didn't know if any translations of the meeting was going to come out. But Nintendo had their financial briefing today, their monthly financial briefing.
Yeah.
And they talked about their future outlook for Nintendo Switch, what they're planning, what they're working on. A little bit of info just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a heads up. They have reduced their hardware sales, what they forecast for their hardware sales, by 1 million. That sounds like a big number, but when the company has sold, 1.4 million or whatever it was, what was it? What was the number? 146.04 million consoles. That's not such a that's like a drop in the hat. That's pocket change. Yeah. But they did also reduce their software sales as well, and I don't have that figure off the top of my head. Do you happen to know that one, Chris?
Which one?
How much they reduced their software sales forecast by?
Oh, I believe. Hold on one second.
I think it was like 140 million software sales units.
Yeah, they lowered it to. I'm trying to pull it up.
Do your thing. You take your time. While you're doing that, I'll just say a couple of the reasons for that is that obviously they're gearing in towards the successor to the Nintendo Switch. That's the biggest reason. They're expecting their forecast to kind of drop a little bit. Beyond that, they've had a lot of expenditure with research and development. They've also had a significant impact. The country of Japan, just in general, has had a significant impact on their dollar to yen amount. Like their currency it's at an all-time low. So the amount of money they're pumping into other things to help do the marketing and help support the sales of these things is significantly lower, and that's why they're lowering what they are. But did you happen to get that software sales reduction?
Yeah. So yeah, the sales were down 31% on hardware and 27.6% for software on this quarter. As a result, they revised their forecast down. They now expect to sell 12.5 million units, which is down 1 million, and they expect to sell 160 million, which is down 5 million from their expectations. Which was originally 165.
That's where I threw off my that's software sales, right? That was where I was thinking the 140 something million, but that was the number I'd heard after like factoring in some numbers there. So all in all, Nintendo super money making. I mean, they're printing money still yet. Like, it's when you hear, oh, we're selling 1 million less consoles, that's less than 10% of what they think. They're less than what, 6% of what they anticipate to sell the entire year period. So
right, yeah.
But the other stuff that came out, this is the future outlook. Wario64, our friends over at Wario64 has tweeted this out. This was from their official notes, their minutes. Future outlook for the console, expanding Nintendo IP. This is the circle here. And what that means is stuff like Nintendo Music, Super Nintendo World, the Nintendo Museum, any movies that they make. Like, that's expanding Nintendo IP. Value added services, so that's like Nintendo Switch Online, my apologies, that's the stuff in addition to Nintendo Switch Online, the additional stuff, my apologies, that's like the Nintendo Music side of it, and then your Nintendo account, which is hardwired into your integrated hardware. But they talked a little bit about what they are doing with the future and how they're going to backwards compatible this, which I think is freaking phenomenal. I mean, Chris, you sent this to me. Do you want to kind of take the reins on what they said here on this slide?
Oh yeah, sure. Just that they had they talked about backwards compatibility, and they were talking about how they're before the Nintendo Switch. I'll just read it here. Until the Nintendo Switch, there was no easy way to have customers purchase and gameplay histories carry over across platform generations. A lot of it has to do with, one was they had the Wii U,
cartridge,
the disc, 3DS, and then moving over to another system, where it is. As a result, our relationship with customers was interrupted when a new system was purchased. The introduction to Nintendo account made it possible to tie customers' history to their personal account, enabling Nintendo to maintain a continuous relationship with the customer across platform generations. Regarding the successor to the Nintendo Switch.
It's still not saying its name.
Right, yeah, exactly. During this fiscal year, we believe that it is important for Nintendo's future to make use of Nintendo account and carry over the good relationship that we have built with the over 100 million annual playing users on Nintendo Switch to its successor. Thus, we will make Nintendo Switch Online a service based on Nintendo account available on the successor to Nintendo Switch.
Thrilled. That is great news. That is good news for us in a lot of ways, because this is the first step in progress for having your purchases carry over from systems to system. It's been the case for stuff like Steam since Steam's conception. It's been the case on Xbox. Whenever digital titles were coming out on there, those purchases carried over to your 360, carried over to your Xbox One, carried over to your Series X. There's no reason that this should not have been the standard for Nintendo, other than, hey, money, how are we going to capitalize on you not being able to play your old games? Well, we're going to remake it, and we're going to release it on this console now, just like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I digress, okay? I don't want to get too upset about it, but this is good news for us moving forward. They go ahead and they say Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to the Nintendo Switch. So backwards compatibility confirmed. Because that was kind of in the air. Nobody really knew what we were going to be getting with that. We were all hoping, because there's been a ton of games purchased, we were all hoping that would be the case, and it in fact definitely was the case. Which I'm super stoked about. How are you feeling about that? Are you stoked about it, or do you care?
Oh yeah, for sure care. I'm glad that not only is it coming over, but it's going to be on the Switch. Not only our games, but then the NSO as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad about that. That's there as well, and being able to play. I mean, most of the games that I got for Nintendo Switch on the Switch 2 is exciting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I'm just glad that I'm gonna have a library of games to play on the new console when that launches, and not have to worry about it. RIP Labo. I think that's coming over. It'll be there. You can play it on Switch too, maybe if it'll fit in the Labo.
Labo VR. Yeah.
Then they had strengthening development resources. So they talked a lot about their groups that they work with for research and development subsidiaries. So Nintendo Cube we knew about, 1UP Studio we knew about, Mario Club we knew about, obviously all of these. Like if you've been following Nintendo news, you knew about all of these. The one that I was very surprised with was that iCube was still functioning. As a matter of fact, Ray Wong over in the right hand replied to them and said, "What is iCube? I thought that partnership with China ended in 2015. I did not know that was still going." So I thought that was kind of interesting.
I believe for years that was the company that would bring out the their games in China.
Yep, Nintendo Systems and Games. They were iCube developed.
That's why that's how we got the iCube GameCube that had the DVD player.
The Panasonic Cube.
Yeah.
And then they went into detail about the many series titles that are showing growth on Nintendo Switch. Now, right before the show, Chris and I did a quick breakdown of the math here, and just to I'm gonna move this notepad around just a little bit for you as you guys are looking at this. So in total, because like one of the things they show here is like, yes, it's growing, but what is the percentage of install base is what I wanted to figure out right before we went live, because it's cool to see, okay, well, we sold 1.78 million units on Wii U and 3DS, but we sold 7.86 million units of Pikmin on the Nintendo Switch. And That's fine to say that number, but your install base is so much larger. And then beyond that, the amount of titles in most cases put out for these consoles was significantly higher, right? So a couple of things here. So Pikmin, when we did the math, the ratio of users who owned a copy of Pikmin, and note there were only 2 titles for the Wii U and 3DS, out of the 89.5 million 3DS and Wii U owners, only 1.99% of those people owned a Pikmin. Now, in most cases, this does show positive growth trend, right? But Pikmin Switch ratio, so it's Switch ratio. Now note, it's had double the titles. That's the thing. It's had double the titles and has a significantly larger install base, but it has 5.34% of Switch users own a Pikmin title. Now note, this also only includes software sales figures that are physical, not download-only software, but include only ones that have a physical version of it. Kirby 3DS Wii U ratio to Kirby Switch ratio, you had 5.62 million units on Wii U 3DS, 15.08 on Switch. There were 5 physical titles on 3DS and Wii U. That means 6.27% of people who had a 3DS and Wii U had a Kirby game on it. No matter what the title, they had at least one Kirby game. And then the Kirby to Switch ratio with 3 titles, 10.25% of Switch owners. So 1 in 10 people is a Kirby fan. That is a fan of Nintendo Switch. But that only had 3 physical titles. The rest of them were all digital or on NSO or wherever you wanted to, however you wanted to consume it digitally or free to play. Let's see all those Kirby fans, all 4 of you out there in the live chat. But Metroid 3DS Wii U ratio, they had 2 titles. And I didn't know I kept forgetting Federation Force was a 3DS title. Chris had to correct me like 15 times while we were prepping this segment. But you had Federation Force and you had Samus Returns remake, and that was 1.09% of people who had a 3DS bought a Metroid game. So that sucks really bad and shows why they didn't want to put out a new Metroid game at all. And then Metroid Switch ratio. We've had 2 titles. We've had Metroid Prime Remastered, or Remake, whatever you want to call it, and Metroid Dread, 3.39%. Also with 2 titles, 3.39% of Nintendo Switch owners have bought one, with 4.99 million units in sales. And then finally, Xenoblade Chronicles here, 1.41 million units on 3DS and Wii U versus the 7.17 million units on Xenoblade Chronicles. There were 2 titles on the 3DS and Wii U. That was Xenoblade Chronicles X and Xenoblade Chronicles... what was it called? Did I have a subtitle, or was it just Xenoblade Chronicles on 3DS? For 3DS.
For new 3DS.
For new Nintendo 3DS, that is right.
Yeah.
1.58% of users bought that on 3DS and Wii U. On the Switch, 4.8% of people bought it.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3D.
Okay, so that was its thing, but legitimately, I am pretty stoked about the Xenoblade Chronicles growth, and there's a reason why I'm so stoked to see Xenoblade Chronicles X come out on the Switch. But I mean, it's clear they had growth, but when you look at the difference, I mean, they sold 168% more Nintendo Switches than they did Wii U's and 3DS's combined. Like, that growth by numbers should have been 168% more than the growth it was. And it is growing, but it's not as exponential as you would expect as a transference from 3DS and Wii U to Nintendo Switch was. So that's just my complaint about it. These numbers seem like, oh, we're doing real good. And it's like, but it's not growing as aggressively as you would anticipate with your install base.
Right, yeah.
So I don't know. There was a lot of other stuff that was said in the actual financial report, you can go and see it. It's public. If you go to Wario64's Twitter, he has it linked as well. But they kind of give plans for the future. I don't know. A lot of exciting stuff and a lot of stuff that I'm happy about on here. Chris, how do you feel about it? Does it change your mind about anything? Are you more excited for stuff? Are we going to get a Nintendo Switch 2 reveal this month? Or are they waiting till March next year?
Yeah, no, you were asking me about that. Yeah, I think, I was, Team October. That didn't work out in my favor. And so now I guess we'll see, March announcement and then full reveal in June and then just all the way out in September or October, I guess. Yeah, we got a whole nother year of Switch remasters, I guess.
I think I said on this show before, I was like, it'll be October. It'll be October. They did October last time. Why wouldn't they do it again this time? And I was wrong. So I'm not one to deny that I could be wrong about my prediction for when they're going to talk about the new Nintendo Switch, whatever it may be. But I can say I am less optimistic that we hear anything about it before 2025 than you are. But I'm going to let you decide what team are we now? Are we Team December?
Team December. Yep, we're Team December until it, I think November they'll give to Mario and Luigi, and December will be for the Switch successor.
You heard it here first, chat and YouTube commenters. We're Team December now. If you're watching our podcast, you're Team December. Yep. We have to go hardcore Team December. Use hashtag Team December on your tweets and on your threads.
If you're watching this in January 2025 and it hasn't been announced yet,
we're moving it to December 2025.
Just know it'll be announced before the end of 2025. Yeah.
Emperor Compass in the live chat, they will shadow drop the Switch 2.
Yes. It worked really well for the Saturn. I'm sure it's going to work really well for them.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's so funny. Well, Chris, that's pretty much it for the main topics tonight. Like that, those kind of went by quickly and easily, and I feel like people got a good feeling of how we feel about these two new apps from Nintendo and the future of Nintendo as well. But we do have one more segment in the show, and that's the Nintendo Fast Forward. So we'll catch you with some new games right after this. Bumper. Bumper didn't play. Bumper tried to play. It did weird things. Anyway, we're in the new game segment. Production, I don't understand what just happened. Production needs to get its stuff right. That being said, we have 4 new games this week. Do you want to tell the people about the 4 new games?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we got the first one we got is Owl Project O period W period L. No period at the end of L. For crying out loud.
Yeah, even though I put a period at the end of L on the on the script.
Yeah, Project. It is kind of like one of those like cube puzzles that it's almost, I mean, just like the images alone, almost they're kind of like isometric puzzles. Kind of reminds me
like
of
MC Escher paintings.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of what's the name of those? Monument Valley?
Yes,
maybe?
Monument Valley. That's what it reminds me of, probably the most, with a lot less freedom in flipping the levels.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
Or I like the look of it, I should say. I haven't played this.
It's Captain Toad, but point and click.
Right, yeah. It is coming out on the 6th, so it'll be out on tomorrow on the Wednesday, and it is $4.99.
$4.99. It looks cool. It looks cool for $4.99. I mean, you can't really go wrong. That's always you can go wrong. I've went wrong with $4.99 lots of times in my life, but I feel like it's one of those things where For a video game, most of the time you're not gonna regret spending $5 on a game. It's so cheap.
Right, yeah. And the other game, the next game is Mario and Luigi Brothership, for crying out loud. That comes out on November 7th, 2024. It is $59.99. It is the new Mario and Luigi RPG. The first Mario and Luigi RPG not made by Alpha Dream, and this is instead made by Acquire, who did Octopath Traveler. And so, I mean, here we are. We got this. It's just a matter of how it is. I mean, the reviews, I mean, I think it ended up with an Open Critics final score of 79. There was a couple of 5s on there, and then there, of course, were 8s and 9s as well. Some people saying it's the best one they ever played. Other people saying it's only better than Paper Jam, and just some of the reviews that were negative said they really enjoyed it for about the first 20 hours, but then it goes on for another 20 hours, and it goes on for a little too long, and that was without doing the side quests. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how that goes.
We could wait and see. I mean, you and I have both had our chance to have a little bit of hands-on time with it ourselves. I mean, we haven't played anywhere near enough to be able to do a review for the game on the channel, but as far as my first impressions, we've played about the first 3 hours of the game, I'd say. And overall, like it's a very, very pretty game. I think I think it has some decent writing, but I think it's like relying really heavily on the slapstick humor and less the quirky writing. And there is still some quirky writing in it. Battle system's good. I would say the battle system is probably the best battle system they've had in a while, the way that like the inputs are. And not having to worry about Luigi getting dragged along the entire time is also a good thing too.
That was what threw me off the most, is because I'm used to doing all of his actions. So I'm used to hitting A to jump and then B to jump. And now if you press B to make him jump, because the computer is basically controlling Luigi, you're controlling Mario, and which would explain why when I first saw this trailer here, I thought there was multiplayer because they were moving
so separated.
Yeah, but it turns out no, he's just there. He's like kind of like your companion, and then you can get him to go pick up stuff for you, do stuff, and then they get the the red and the blue, or the red and green blocks that you got to jump on, and those, while you're jumping on them, they're like you've got the computer takes care of Luigi, and so you're just taking care of Mario. And it's like my brain is, when I'm playing these games, so used to doing Mario and Luigi that I like mess up the jump because I'm trying to do it, which is weird.
But in battle, you are dealing with both, which is like a weird flip too.
Right, you're doing both, but
which is good in the old games, like you were doing both. But like, but you're not controlling him. It's weird.
You're doing both, but selecting his options were with the B button because Mario was A, Luigi was B. But here, you're selecting all things with A.
Yep.
And then the B only comes in while the attacks are happening.
Yeah, with the quick time prompts.
So I would hit B to select it with Luigi's stuff, and nothing would happen because you got to select it with A. And it's just... I think it would only really be an issue for anyone that played the Mario and Luigi games, and if you haven't played those, then it shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, you're probably pretty set. Overall, like I've enjoyed this. I think it's going to be a good game. I'm looking forward to playing significantly more of it, just to see how bloated the claim that it's bloated is.
Right.
But I enjoyed my time with it. It's too early to give it any kind of score. But I would encourage people to support this and go out and buy it if you ever want to see another Mario and Luigi. I feel like we're in the Mario RPG renaissance. The thing I would compare Luigi to, by the way, I was thinking while you were talking there, I would compare Luigi closer to a Pikmin on the overworld than anything.
Yeah.
You can go send him off to pick, as you're seeing there on the screen, you can go send him off to pick up plants, and he has this little thing called Luigi logic that kind of is, he's thinking about how to solve a problem, and so he comes up with a Luigi creative solution. And it's just interesting. It's interesting. I like some of the changes, and some of the changes I'm still questioning, but I would encourage people, if you are into this, it's still a good game, from what we've played of it. But if you really want to see more of it, I think vote with your dollars,
Yeah, exactly.
That's out Thursday?
But yeah, Thursday. That is out on Thursday, yes. And then we've got the Atari anniversary celebration, which has like some DLC that's coming out later, but then, you're starting off with well, wait, no, they already had DLC. This is just
this is the second DLC, the first console
second
one.
DLC, and the first console one, and then this is like kind of like what is it? It's like both DLCs and the game. It's like a combo pack.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is I think they even have stuff from like the Atari Lynx.
They do. So they have this is the base version of Atari 50, and they give you DLC 1 and DLC 2 in this edition of it. The wider world of Atari includes a new timeline with more games, historical artifacts, video interviews that explore the creation of Atari games. This includes 19 games, including Berserk, Atari Football, the first trackball game, and underappreciated gems from the 2600 library. It also includes Alicorn's story on the creation of Breakout, the search for rare prototype games, spotlight on artist Evelyn Sato, who helped create the famous Atari Fuji logo. And then the second DLC, this is when we're going to start seeing some stuff for Atari VCS, with 19 games, including several rare M Network prototypes. So M Network was the first version of DLC, digital library, and new timeline interviews with M Network programmer Jane Terjung, Activision's David Crane and Gary Kitchen, homebrew programmer Dennis Debro, and historians Leonard Herman and Mike Mika. I'm not sure how to pronounce that last name. So, really, really cool collection. If you're a video game historian at all and you like that, Atari 50 is a good way to kind of experience some of those older titles that have just become obsolete without proper emulation methods nowadays. So, and it does give you a chance to support the company more directly rather than just going and stealing all the games. So there's a modern way to go grab them.
And they have those good, like the documentary and interviews and stuff, like you were saying.
That's the biggest thing that sells me on that title altogether is the documentaries.
Yeah. Then.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah. No, but it does, but it's also, that DLC. I don't know that I'm going to be picking it up, but this one I might. Tetris Forever.
Oh, yeah.
Coming out on the 12th. This is celebrate 40 years of Tetris with 15 plus games, a new game, and a documentary videos. So that's exciting. I mean, I enjoy myself some Tetris. The one thing that's a bit of a bummer is they didn't have Tetris. They don't have like Tetris Sphere from the N64, but it's Tetris. I like Tetris. It is a bunch of the older Tetris games all in one place. You can play them. Some of my favorite Tetris, sadly, are not on this, but the ones that are there are really good. Plus, Digital Eclipse is the one handling the publishing with this, and they do a really great job with not only getting the games on there, but then also making sure they feel like they did when you originally played them.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think they do a better job of making sure they play how you remember them playing, and maybe not quite as bad as they actually did play in terms of like random flickering. You can turn that on and off and things like that. But yeah, Tetris Forever. It is $34.99, but it's on sale until the game comes out, which is on sale for $29.74. Is this something? How do you feel about Tetris?
I like Tetris well enough. It was probably, I mean, when I got my Game Boy, it was very formative for me because I got Mario Land and Tetris with my original Game Boy. And I loved that game back in the day. The music's iconic. The puzzle solving's like really, really, really good. But I probably wouldn't say that Tetris ranks up there as like any of my favorite games necessarily. It's really hard for me to justify a $35 price tag for Tetris, just for me personally. But the history pieces of that is the thing that I think you're getting more than anything, because it's very similar to the Atari 50, where you're able to get interviews with a bunch of different people and just like a detailed look at what was going on with the history surrounding the game, and then even more so direct history of the game. So I think it's a very cool artifact that's well worth the $35 because it's so much more than just Tetris.
Right.
So really cool. Really cool. You know what, Chris?
What?
Call me a dummy, but I really like talking to you, Chris Becker.
Well, thank you.
Not a problem. That does bring us to the end of the show, where you can catch all of our past episodes in video form over at youtube.com/@the-Nintendo-Rewind. Visit our site for links to all of our social media garbage at nintendorewind.com, and consider supporting the show through memberships or maybe purchasing yourself a shirt and get yourself all warm. Those things are all available over at nintendorewind.com. But Chris, where can they find you, my good sir?
Pretty much Super Nintendo on pretty much everything.
Super Nintendo.
Yeah. How about you? Where can they find you?
Nerdwire plays on pretty much everything as well. So you can go to my website. It's easiest way. Oh my God. Easiest place. That's what I'm trying to say to find everything that I'm doing. We'll be live again next Tuesday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, rounding up your latest Nintendo news. Chris, thanks for joining me tonight. Live chat commenters, let us know what you are most excited about that we talked about this week. Was it Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket? Was it Nintendo Music? Maybe the financial report that came out. Ooh, gotta get excited for those reports. But without any further ado, we'll catch you guys on the flip side. Remember, please be kind. Everyone, bye.